Welcome to episode 192 of Angela Watson's Truth for Teachers. I'm your host, Angela Watson, and I'm here to speak life, encouragement, and truth into the minds and hearts of educators and get you energized for the week ahead. Today, I'm going to talk about how this global shakeup of our entire way of life could be the opportunity that we need to reimagine schools. Visit truthforteachers.com to get the transcript or find our Truth for Teachers podcast community on Facebook. Support for this episode is brought to you in part by PowerSchool. They know that in or out of the classroom, a little extra time goes a long way for teachers. Now with Schoology, PowerSchool brings together SIS, LMS, and assessment technology in one place, empowering teachers with more time to focus on what matters most. Find out how teachers are using technology to unlock student success at powerschool.com/timeforteachers. That's powerschool.com/timeforteachers. A big thanks also to ViewSonic. They're doing their part as they see schools close around them and distance learning solutions become a priority for teachers. With millions of teachers and students finding themselves trying to learn from home, ViewSonic wants to help by offering free access to My ViewBoard Premium for a limited time. This free trial gives teachers access to all their digital whiteboarding software, including those for distance learning. Get your free trial and learn more at myviewboard.com/distance learning. So here we are with even my podcast sponsors changing up their topics and their messaging and the things that they're offering to teachers. I'm scrapping all of my regular podcast topics due to just irrelevance after our nationwide school closures due to COVID-19. I mean, I just did an episode on teacher lunch ideas that is now irrelevant because no one's packing lunch anymore. The kind of stuff that I thought would always be helpful for teachers suddenly isn't at all. It's incredible how much our world has turned upside down and how quickly it's happened. And one of the few teaching-related topics that anyone seems to be able to focus on right now is, how am I supposed to teach remotely, like right now? There's a gazillion free and paid resources being shared, and it's taking me hours to comb through them, and I keep questioning myself because I have no idea what I'm doing. And every new strategy and tool just makes me think that what I'm doing isn't good enough, and then I get overwhelmed by all of it, and then I just think, this is never going to work, and I give up. You thought that was just you? Oh no, my friend. I am listening to teachers all over the country, all over the world right now, and so many of you are in that boat. I want to offer you another perspective to consider that I hope will be clarifying and simplifying and, most importantly, energizing, because the process you're in right now can be super demotivating. This is a time in which it's likely that schools will be taught remotely for the rest of the school year in our entire country. And it's also likely that standardized testing will be canceled. Could any of us have ever dreamed of that possibility just a few short months or maybe even weeks ago? I mean, let it sink in. Standardized testing canceled. You can teach your students without worrying if it's enough to get them to pass the test in this spring. Maybe they haven't announced that in your area, but a lot of states are already doing it, and I have a feeling it's coming to your area too. Imagine that. What kind of teacher might you be without that testing pressure? Could this be an opportunity to return to the teacher that you truly are at heart? Because we weren't happy as teachers when we were shoving worksheets into kids' hands and testing them all day long. We knew the way we were doing school was killing students' love of learning and our love of teaching. We left school each day far too late in the evenings. We were exhausted, we were worn down, we were overwhelmed by the demands of the job. Why on earth would we want to replicate those same practices now when we're finally, and probably just temporarily, free of them? We've always said that we wanted to put relationships first. We wanted to put kids first. We wanted to put kids' socio-emotional needs first. Ensure they're feeling safe and healthy and well-adjusted. But we felt like we couldn't because we were under so much pressure to cram everything into the school day for the test. But now we're in this new uncharted territory where there is no blueprint and there are few known best practices. Sure, many schools have done remote teaching or distance learning before, but this is not true distance learning in most places. Distance learning is a comprehensive system. It takes years to develop these courses properly to be taught online. It takes many months for teachers to be trained properly in them. As you are discovering, being able to teach well in a classroom does not necessarily translate to being able to teach well from home. It's a brand new skill set for many people. What we're doing right here is makeshift, last-minute, pandemic-geared remote teaching. This is a shoddy version in which we are building the airplane while trying to fly it. And that's not that unusual in education, unfortunately, but this time it's at least partially justified and totally understandable. Every district in the nation right now is making it up as they go, with wildly differing approaches and philosophies. Many are giving teachers very little guidance or training at all. And you know what? This could be our opportunity to finally get it right for kids. And I don't mean right now, like today. There's a very small chance that you're going to be able to pull off high-quality, rigorous, differentiated instruction right now. If you can pull off just the high-quality part right away, honestly, I think you deserve a medal, and you are doing exceptionally better than most people are right now. It's tough out there. Now, I'm looking at the bigger picture down the road. If we don't have to do standardized testing this year, and clearly we don't, given that many states have already canceled it, if a whole school year passes and we don't test kids, and the world is still turning, could it be possible that we don't have to do it again? That maybe high-stakes testing was never necessary to begin with. If we can put kids' well-being and safety first right now like we're doing, why can't we do that every year? If we can let teachers experiment with different methods and have some choice over how they teach, why can't we do that every year? Dream with me, folks. Come on. You never thought your current reality would be possible, right? So why not use some of this time that you're stuck in the house to imagine something more? Because these are unprecedented times. We have an unprecedented opportunity to reimagine systems. This is a total shakeup of every aspect of our society and how we do life. The world is upside down right now, and that means as we start to turn it right side up again, it's never going to look the same. And we can start envisioning now how it might look instead. Next school year is going to be different than any other year we've ever taught, because we'll be compensating for this lost instruction and the disruption at the end of this year. No one really knows what that's going to look like yet. As of this moment, I've not heard of any districts that have really put forth a concrete proposed plan about that. So what if we give our input? What if we start pushing for change? What if we express that we want next year to look like something that gives teachers and kids a bit more grace and flexibility and leeway like we're experiencing right now? If we can be more flexible right now, why can't we be more flexible next year? What if the challenging times that we have to learn how to endure together in the coming months can help us imagine a more human-centered way of doing school, a way that's more accommodating of educators and kids and their families? What if the new normal that we hope to begin in the fall is based on what's actually best for our students? What if we let go of the worry about whether we're doing it the right way and accept that there is no right way? It's never been done. We have no path. You are creating the path right now. You get to be a pioneer. You're no longer treading up the same old hills on well-worn paths that never seem to lead anywhere you really want to be. You get to try something new. Carve out a new path, a new direction, with nothing and no one to compare yourself to. Don't even think about looking at other teachers right now and comparing yourself unfairly to them. How do you even know that what they're doing is better? We don't know how this thing ends yet. Your simpler or less elaborate or more low-tech solution might be exactly what your students need right now. And you know what? If it's not, that's okay, because how on earth could you really be prepared for this? How could anyone possibly know what's going to work? You're just going to do what great teachers always do, which is try something with your kids. Observe how they respond and iterate from there. That's it. So if you do something and it totally confuses the kids, you'll do what you always do. You'll explain it a different way. or offer clarification, or provide a little bit more scaffolding and give them more opportunities to practice. If it still doesn't work, you pivot a little bit. You try something else, you see how that goes. This is the daily work of a teacher. You know how to do this. You've been doing this. You know how to watch what's resonating with your kids and notice what's missing the mark and adjust things accordingly. And the best part is the expectations and the stakes are so much lower right now. It may not feel like it, but if you really take a step back, you have a lot more grace than usual. There's going to be more tolerance for tech issues and mix-ups and unclear assignments. No one's unexpectedly popping into your living room with a clipboard to observe you. This is a time to finally prioritize the whole child and the whole teacher. This is a time to say to our kids, we want you reading and playing and creating and resting the majority of your day. School's only going to take up a few hours, so you can focus on the other things that are important in your life. This is a time to let go of all of our previous assumptions about what we, quote, had to do with kids. It's a time to reimagine new and better ways. You don't need to have most kids in most situations right now working 6+ hours a day on schoolwork from home. Maybe it took you 30 minutes to deliver instructions face-to-face because you had to keep stopping for kids who asked to sharpen their pencil and intercom interruptions and behavioral issues and all these other kinds of things. And now maybe you record a video of the lessons or the instructions and it turns out to only be 15 minutes. And the kids just watch it when they can during the week. That's one simple example of how something that's stretched out over a long period of time in your classroom would require far less time from kids at home. Look for opportunities to let go of your assumptions about how long things are supposed to take or trying to fill arbitrary amounts of hours with busy work. Stay focused on assigning stuff that's really going to move the needle for kids. In most situations, kids do not need more academic work right now. Yes, there are kids who really thrive on the structure. Yes, there may be high schoolers who have a certain situation where they're trying to get a scholarship and so they've got to finish these AP classes. Or, maybe there's a student with special needs who absolutely has to have certain services. But more is not necessarily better. Let's look at the big picture here. Come back to that over and over again. This is a devastating blemish on their childhoods. They have been robbed of their opportunity to see their friends and play on the playground and walk across a graduation stage and pass their crush in the hallway and all the other special things that normally happen every day in school. Their parents are likely scared and possibly unemployed. Teenage students might lose their jobs too. They might be babysitting younger siblings or otherwise taking on far more responsibility at home. They might be sharing devices and have limited Wi-Fi. It's springtime. They want to be outside. They can't do anything they love, and they're trapped in their house with family members that may get on their nerves, or far worse. They may have lost access to their safe place or their safe people, whether that be at school or some other situation that they're now sequestered away from. They may be hungry. There may be a whole host of unmet needs that are a much higher priority for them than turning in your quiz on time. So the last thing they need in the middle of a global pandemic is to have 6+ hours of schoolwork to complete every day, especially if it's from all different teachers who have different expectations and different philosophies and workflows and different tech tools. Keep your remote learning simple. When you get overwhelmed with the options, ask yourself, what would it look like if it were easy? Encourage your students to think about all of their needs right now: eating well, sleeping, playing, relaxing, exercise, fresh air. Their mental health is critical right now. And it's at deep risk. All of us have our mental health at deep risk right now from the isolation and from the fear and from the uncertainty of the future. And the thing is, you may actually have more opportunities to focus on your kids' mental health now than you did when you were trying to teach a regular day in your classroom. If your district's giving you any leeway or any decision-making ability at all here, and the awesome part is I think many teachers have more autonomy now than they did previously in their classrooms. Exercise that autonomy and focus on the whole child. And the other awesome part about this? It means that you get to focus on the whole teacher too. You're a human and you have many of the same needs the kids do. This is your time to prioritize meeting those needs. If nothing else, you're gaining back whatever time you used to spend commuting. And for many of you, though, there's far more unstructured time in the day than you could have ever imagined having during the school year. Sure, things may be chaotic at first as you adjust to teaching remotely. The hours are going to be different. The work is going to look different. But this is probably the most control you've ever had over your own time and schedule as a teacher. It's the most flexibility that you've probably ever had. Don't waste that. This is hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence that we're experiencing here. This is our one big shot to throw out all the things that we were told we had to do with kids and reimagine a whole other way of teaching them. Big sweeping changes like this don't happen very often, especially in bureaucracies. There are folks who have been trying for 20 years to encourage teachers to utilize more technology and flip their classrooms and record videos of their lessons, and they may have only made incremental changes in their schools. And now, overnight, it's suddenly top of mind priority for everyone in their building. Unprecedented. That's the word here, and that means there are hidden, unprecedented opportunities. Our world is changing dramatically and very quickly, with life-altering news breaking every few hours, it seems like. So this is the ultimate chance to not plan every little detail and try to just go with it. Because how can you or anyone else possibly anticipate what life will be like for our kids and families a month from now? Stay focused on your students as people and show up for them in authentic ways. Share your thoughts and feelings. Let them know you miss them. Check to see how they're doing. Find small moments of connection and let that be the heart of your day. Let that be the thing that gets you out of bed when you're discouraged. Let that be the thing that drives you in your instruction far more than the academic skills. What kids need right now is that connection with people who care about them, and a sense of normalcy, and something they can count on. They also need you to be flexible with your expectations, be understanding with them, be patient with them. And the good part is, after 6 to 7 months in school with them, you know them well by now. You know what they need better than I could ever tell you what they need. Follow your intuition. Listen to the kids. And give grace to their families who might be panicking about their children falling behind and sort of driving you bananas about it. Or they may be on the opposite end of the spectrum and so preoccupied with financial and physical and mental survival that helping with schoolwork isn't even a possibility. Know that everybody is doing the best they can with what they've got right now. Relationships first. We used to say that all the time in school, but now we have to actually live it. We've got to get through some hard times, and trying to be business as usual is not going to cut it. Reassure these families that you've got their back and you're there for their kids and you're doing everything you can to help them end this school year strong. This can't be about trying to please them all, because everyone is going to want something different from you right now. Everyone's going to have their own idea about the best approach. You cannot please them all. This is just about being human, about allowing them to see you as a real person who is doing your very best in very difficult circumstances, and extending understanding and patience to them as fellow humans who are also doing their best in very difficult circumstances. Center the socio-emotional well-being of your students and their families and yourself, first and foremost. Be the teacher you dreamed of being when you first started the profession, before you were demoralized, before you were worn down, back when you had a clear vision and a sense of your calling. Be the kind of teacher you always hoped you would be. You already are that teacher, by the way. You just have to release yourself from all that baggage that keeps you from showing up like that. This is a unique moment in time in which nearly everything we were told is important is falling away, or shifting, or disappearing. We've built our entire school year around preparing for a test that's not even maybe happening right now. We took for granted that our schools would always be there. They'd always be places we would be expected to go to. That the problems we were facing in our schools would never disappear in an instant, to be replaced with entirely new and previously unimaginable problems. All of our norms, in school and in society, are shifting constantly right now. This is a period of total reinvention. Your takeaway truth for the week ahead is this: you can redefine normal in a way that works for you and your students. I want you to let go of the longing for a return to the old normal and instead reimagine a better way. What if we remind ourselves that the status quo wasn't actually working for either teachers or kids? And we choose to see this disruption as a precious opportunity to create new systems and norms. Use this chance wisely, my friends. In all of the tragedy and loss that we're experiencing and that is still to come, there's so many gifts as well. And this part is a gift of more time at home, more time for rest, more time for intentionally strengthening connections and bonds with those that we care about, including our students, because we can no longer count on casual, regular encounters to just happen automatically. This is a time of intentionality and purpose and reimagining. Old limitations are falling away, and new possibilities are emerging. You're about to discover new things about teaching and learning that you can take with you throughout your teaching career and use even when face-to-face instruction is possible again. These challenging times are deepening your practice and pedagogy, and they're widening your skills as an instructor. They're offering you the opportunity to reimagine every aspect of how you use your time for teaching and how you use your time for yourself. You can do this, I promise. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it.